Today, I'm starting something I have never, ever seen anyone in this space do. I'm going through an entire 17-day personal development system on camera, one day at a time, and you are coming with me. I'm talking about the actual work as it happens, starting with what I did in my kitchen this morning. And here's why this matters to you, even if you never watch another day of this series. 80% of people who set a goal in January have quit by the second Friday of the month. There's even a name for it. Fitness apps call it Quitter's Day. And here's the question. Do 80% of people suddenly forget how to make a plan? No. Something else is breaking, and it breaks pretty early on. And almost nobody teaches the layer of goal setting where that happens. So in this video, I'm going to cover 3 things. 1, what's actually going on when people abandon a goal in the first week? The research actually surprised me. 2, a famous goal-setting study you have probably heard quoted that turns out to be completely fake, and the real study that replaced it, which says something way more interesting. 3, the exact 3-part goal-setting method from day 1 of this system, which I did myself this morning. And I'll be honest with you, I've been teaching communication for 3 years, teaching in general for over 10. I've been doing personal development work for 25 or more years, and day 1 of this program still caught me off guard. Yes, I'm aware I'm a professor who just assigned herself 17 days of homework during summer break. Let's get into day 1. So let me back up for a second, because if this is the first video of mine you found, hi, I'm Chrissy Hogue Bartels. I'm a communication professor, I'm a SAG-AFTRA actor, and a few weeks ago, I did something I've been circling for a long time. I invested in a personal development business. And I want to be completely transparent with you about why this series exists, because, well, I'm a professor and I think you need to know, and I think you deserve to know. This 17-day system is the personal development foundation of that program, the one I just signed up for. Some of you watching are simply going to come here to grow, and that's wonderful. Every single day of this will stand on its own for you for free, no strings attached. Some of you are researching the same path I chose, wondering what's actually behind the curtain of an opportunity like this. And some of you, somewhere around day 4 or 5, are going to catch yourself thinking, I don't want to watch her do this. I want to do this. The full sessions, the daily work, the real thing for myself. And all 3 of you are in exactly the right space. This series is how I'm holding that curtain open. You get to watch me do the actual work day by day before you ever have to decide anything. One ground rule though, and for me, this is a matter of integrity. I'm going to share my experience of each day. And the core idea, you can put that to work immediately. I'm not going to hand you the program itself. The full sessions, the complete exercises, the trainings behind each concept, people invested in those. I invested in those, and they're worth protecting. So here's my promise instead. Every one of these 17 videos gives you something real you can use the same day, completely free. And if one of those days lights you up and you realize you want the whole thing, you'll know exactly where to find me. Because here's the thing I kept coming back to. I have spent 20 years or more consuming this kind of work. Books, seminars, courses, you name it, it's on my shelf here somewhere. And in all that time, I have never watched somebody actually do the work day by day in a public way. We get the transformation story after the fact, when it's all tidy. We never get to see day 4 when it's just not that tidy. So that's the promise. 17 days, 1 concept a day, and I'll tell you the truth about each one. What it asked of me, what I resisted, and what it actually changed. Years in front of classrooms and on camera taught me that you cannot fake your way through the real work anyway. Students and lenses both catch it. All right. So day one is goal setting. And before I show you the method, you need to know about the day most goals go to die. So, Quitter's Day. I mentioned it in the open. By the second Friday of January, about 80% of the people who set a New Year's goal have already let it go. That number comes from Strava, a fitness app with hundreds of millions of logged workouts. So they can literally watch the moment everybody stops showing up. But the study that really got me is much older. A psychologist named John Norcross followed 200 people who made New Year's resolutions, followed them for 2 full years. Within 1 week, almost a quarter had quit. 1 week. By 2 years, 19% were left. And here's the detail I love because it cuts both ways. About 4 in 10 were succeeding at the 6-month mark. So this isn't everybody fails. Plenty of people make it. The question is, what separates them? Now think about what that 1 week actually means. Nobody's plan suddenly fell apart in 7 days. The gym's not crowded yet. Okay, the gym actually is crowded for exactly those 7 days. Then it empties. I know, I've been there. The spreadsheet is still pristine, right? The calendar reminders are still firing. So if the plan is intact, what quit? Here's what I think the research is pointing at. The belief quit. Somewhere in those first days, without announcing itself, the part of you that thought, this is actually possible for me, changed its mind. And the behavior just followed it out the door. I'll give you mine because it's humbling. I am a lifelong yo-yo dieter. And here's the part that took me years to see. I always hit my goal. The number I'm chasing, I always get there every single freaking time. And then over the months that follow, I drift right back to where I started. For the longest time, I told myself that that was a discipline problem. But discipline is what got me to the number. What I never had was the belief that I was a person who can live there forever. I achieved every single one of those goals as a visitor, like somebody who comes and shows up and visits and then goes home. That's part of what this work is for, by the way. This time, the win sticks. It's in my notebook. The plan was never the problem in the first place, which means everything you've been taught about goal setting, the frameworks, the milestones, the tracking, is solving for the wrong failure. And that brings me to the most important and most famous goal study in the world, which it turns out never happened. If you've spent any time at all around goal setting content, you have heard this story. 1953, Yale. Sometimes it's Harvard, depending on who's telling it. Researchers ask the graduating class who has written goals for their future. Only 3% do. 20 years later, they track everybody down, and that 3% is earning 10 times more than the other 97% combined. It's in the books. It's on the stages. I've heard it quoted in faculty lounges. It never happened. No such study exists. Researchers went looking for it. Yale went looking for it. A Harvard psychologist went looking for it. A magazine put an investigative reporter on it, and there is no study. Somebody made it up. It sounded true, and it's been repeated for decades. And as a professor, I have to tell you, this is my favorite kind of correction, because the person who proved it was fake is also the person who finally ran the real experiment. Her name is Dr. Gail Matthews, a psychology professor at Dominican University of California. She recruited 267 working adults, all ages, all kinds of industries, and tested what actually moves the needle on goal achievement. And here's what she found. The people who kept their goals in their heads, unwritten, private, right, told nobody about them, about 35% of those folks succeeded. The people who wrote their goals down, committed to specific actions, and sent a weekly progress report to a friend, over 70%, they succeeded. Sit with that. The fake study says, write it down and get rich. The real study says, write it down and be witnessed. Those are not the same thing. Writing helps. Accountability helps. Matthews found doubling happens when another human being is expecting your update. Goals survive in community and they die privately in your notebook, which is exactly why I am doing these 17 days on camera instead of in my journal. You are my progress report. I'm actually doing this with my daughter and my aunt as well. It's also why I built a free community for this exact purpose. It's called the Prosperity Ascent Lab. It's on School, SKOOL. And the very first thing people do in there is post their 3 goals. So someone is expecting their update. If you don't have a witness in your life right now, borrow mine. The link is below. It costs you nothing and you can lurk as long as you like. Skeptics are honestly my favorite members because they ask the best questions. Okay, so belief is the layer that breaks, right? And witness is the structure that holds everything together and on track. Now, let me show you what day 1 actually had me do this morning because it's built for exactly those 2 things. And I want to be upfront about scale here. What I did this morning was a full session. The goal setting exercise I'm about to walk you through is the centerpiece, and maybe it's about a third of what day 1 actually covers. There's a whole piece in there about questioning the version of reality you've been operating inside. 2 questions that I have not stopped thinking about since breakfast that I'm not going to unpack today. I'm giving you the part you can use tonight, but you should get in on this. All right, so here's the exercise. And I want you to notice how different it is from pick a goal and break it into weekly chunks, okay? Day 1 has you set 3 goals at once on 3 different horizons. A short-term goal, 90 days to 6 months out, a medium-term goal, 1 to 2 years, and a long-term goal, which is about 5 to 10 years. Now, why 3, you might be asking? Well, it's because, and this is the part that caught me this morning, okay? A 90-day goal written by itself has no reason to exist. What's the point? But the moment I wrote the 5 to 10 year goal first and then looked back at my 90-day goal, the 90-day goal changed because now it had a job. It's the first staircase step of a life I actually describe. Understand? The short goal stops being a task and starts becoming evidence that the long one is real and it's happening. And that's the answer to the week 1 problem from earlier. You don't abandon a task list because you're lazy. You abandon it because it stopped meaning anything. 3 horizons, I'm calling it, is how you make the next 90 days mean something. Then come the 2 instructions that standard goal advice never give you. And I'll be straight with you. The professor in me raised an eyebrow this morning at this, and I'm glad I did them anyway. First, write each goal in the present tense. Not I will, not I want to, I am, I have, it is. You write the goal as you're describing your life from inside the achieved version of it. Second, write it with emotion, not with bullet points. You put on the page what it feels like to be there, what you notice, what's different, what got you to now. So instead of describing my goals, let me just show you. This is actually what I wrote this morning. At the top of mine, there's a number. It's a monthly income number. Writing it in the present tense made my hand a little shaky because it was big. And I'm going to keep the number itself between me and this page. It's mine. Your number is yours. Mine would sound either too big or too small depending on where you're standing today, and neither one helps you write yours. But I'll read you the rest exactly as I wrote it. I am so grateful and excited to be helping so many people fulfill their financial and freedom dreams. I have paid off my debts, even my student loans, and I own everything I have ever dreamed of, free and clear. I am working on paying off my family's debts next. My friends and family see my life, they want it, and they are building right alongside me on my team. That's the short horizon. Day one says be specific, so it has a date on it, August 11th, 2026, and it stretches. By this November, I'm back on set, starring in film and television, and have an absolute control of my time. I'm having a blast at film festivals. And the 5 to 10 year horizon, by 36, I own insanely beautiful properties all over the world. I host wonderful parties at every single one of them. You're all invited, obviously. And here's the honest thing, the sentence I said, I promised you from the beginning. Writing it that way felt ridiculous for about 90 seconds, and then it stopped feeling like it stopped feeling like wishing and started feeling like remembering. That's the shift, right? That's what present tense with emotion actually does. Now, I know some of you are thinking, because I thought it too, present time, feelings? Is this where the science gets off the bus? Fair question. Stay with me, because this next part is the reason that I made this video. In 1999, two researchers at UCLA, Pham and Taylor, ran an experiment on students before an exam. One group spent every day visualizing the outcome, seeing themselves getting the A, feeling the glow of the grade posted on the wall. The other group visualized the process, seeing themselves at the desk, studying, working through the material. The outcome group did worse, not the same. Worse. Vividly imagining the result on its own actually drained their effort, because the brain got a little taste of the reward and relaxed. The process group studied more and scored higher. The emotion works when you place yourself inside the doing, not at the finish line watching yourself win. And the second I read that research, I recognized it, because it's exactly how actors are trained. I have never once prepared for a role by visualizing the applause. When I get a call for a co-star role, say on a network set, and sometimes that call comes in, less than 24 hours notice, I don't imagine the casting director smiling at me. I rehearse the scene fully, out loud, in present tense, feeling what the character feels, until being that person on that set is simply familiar. By the time I walk in the room, I'm not hoping to become her. I've already been her dozens of times in my living room. That is what day one is actually having you do. Present tense plus emotion isn't a manifestation gimmick. It's rehearsal. You're rehearsing the version of you that goal belongs to until she's familiar enough to believe in it. And belief, remember, is the thing that quits in week one. Psychologists call the antidote self-efficacy. You are earned conviction that you can actually execute, and it's one of the most reliable predictors of follow-through we've got. Day one is a belief installation exercise wearing a goal-setting costume. That's what caught me off guard this morning, okay? And that's what every framework I'd ever taught was missing. So let's close the loop on what we've covered. 1, goals don't die from bad timing. 1/4 of people quit inside a week while the plan is still perfect, because the belief goes first. 2, the famous Yale study is a myth, but the real research is better. Written goals with a weekly witness roughly doubled the success rate from 35% to over 70. 3, day one's method, 3 horizons, present tense, written with emotion isn't fluff, it's rehearsal. It's how you install the belief before week one comes to collect it, okay? Now, depending on who you are, there are 3 different next steps, and I'm gonna give you all 3. You pick the one that fits best for you. If you are here for the work, tonight, write your 3 goals out. One for 90 days, one for 1 to 2 years from now, and one for 5 to 10 years. Present tense with feeling, and tell one person who will check on you 15 minutes backed by every piece of research in this video. If you're curious but skeptical, and I was you for years, then please come sit in my free community, the Prosperity Ascent Lab on School. Post 3 goals, watch how people in their work, ask me anything in the comments of the daily threads. There's no cost, there's no obligation. It's not freemium, it's just free. And nobody's gonna chase you. It's the warm-up room, and the door is just propped open. And if you're further along than that, if you watched the video where I talk about starting this journey and you've been wondering whether this path could be yours, or if you're already feeling what I predicted earlier, that you don't want to watch this video, you don't want to watch this work, you want to do this work yourself, there are 2 links below. The first shows you exactly what this business system looks like on a page you can read privately on your own with video testimonials. And the second books a discovery call with me. We will have a conversation. That call is also where I walk people through what it looks like to do this. And if it's not for you, I will let you know, because the only thing I'm interested in building this with is the right people. Tomorrow is day 2, and it's the first of what this system calls the 6 higher faculties of the mind. The first one is perception. And friends, I have taught perception in communication classrooms, so I have opinions. And I'll tell you something else. Because I peeked ahead at the map of all 17 days, day 10 is called collapsing the field. Day 16 is something called the 6th sense zone. There's a whole day on something called counterintention, which apparently is the reason effort backfires for some people. I genuinely don't know what most of these mean yet, but we're gonna find out together. So come back tomorrow and we'll see whether 20 years of theory survives contact with this work. I'm Chrissy Hogue Bartels. Go write your 3 goals. I'll see you on day 2.